What if I told you that some of the most recognizable R&B icons never completed their last song? Unfortunately, a number of well-known artists who won awards for their unmatched talent died while on stage. From the iconic Philippé Wynne, who died as a result of heart attack while performing, to Barbara Weldens, who died of electrocution due to electrical malfunction right on stage. Here are 20 R&B icons who died live on stage. Number 1. Philippé Wynne. Wynne was born in Michigan's Detroit. Raised in a musical household, he started singing in the choir of his local church at a young age, which helped him to build a strong and expressive voice. Gospel music and performers like Jackie Wilson and Sam Cooke were among his earliest influences. His soulful vocals, which were ideal for the R&B sound of the 1960s and 1970s, were influenced by these genres. The Spinners, a band that was founded in the early 1950s but achieved widespread success in the 1970s with a new lineup, are most remembered for Philippé Wynne's tenure as its lead vocalist. The Spinners' previous lead vocalist was replaced by Wynne in the late 1960s. His distinctive voice and captivating demeanor contributed to the group's global popularity. The Spinners' smooth, soulful sound and their partnership with Tom Bell, a well-known producer of the Philadelphia soul sound, helped them gain recognition. Philippé Wynne explored a career as a solo artist following his time with the Spinners. He continued to display his vocal ability, but his solo work never saw the same degree of financial success as his time with the trio. His deep, expressive voice was included on a number of tracks on his self-titled debut album, which did not chart as well as his work with the Spinners. Philippé Wynne's life and career were tragically cut short. Wynne passed away at the age of 43 from a heart attack on July 14, 1984. He was playing with his own band in a bar in Oakland, California, when he passed away. According to reports, paramedics failed to revive him in time when he passed out while singing. Number 2. Johnny Ace. Johnny Ace came from a family of musicians. His early musical development was greatly influenced by his mother, who loved gospel music, and his father, John Marshall Alexander Sr., who was a musician who played the trumpet. Johnny Ace relocated to Chicago in the early 1950s and started pursuing a career in professional music. Here, he signed with the RPM label, which represents musicians in Johnny Otis's stable. The recording of My Song in 1952 became Johnny Ace's big break and became an instant hit on the R&B chart. Because of this accomplishment, he became known as one of the R&B scene's most promising young performers. He blended pop, gospel, and blues components into his silky singing style, which was on full display in the song. In 1954, Johnny Ace released Pledging My Love, his most well-known and enduring song. The ballad became one of the most recognizable songs in R&B history after topping the charts for 10 weeks. The song became a classic due to Ace's passionate performance and its profound emotional impact. At the height of his career, on December 25, 1954, Johnny Ace passed away tragically and unexpectedly. Ace allegedly started toying with a .22 caliber handgun on stage during a performance break while he was in Houston, Texas, for a Christmas concert. According to reports, he was playing with the rifle when it unintentionally fired. Ace was taken to the hospital after the bullet hit his head, but he was declared dead not long after. He was only 25. Since it was uncommon for a musician to be carrying a firearm during a musical break, various people speculated about the circumstances surrounding the incident, which was declared an accident. Number 3. Jackie Wilson. In the 1950s and 1960s, Jackie Wilson was one of the most important figures in R&B and soul music. He earned the nickname Mr. Excitement for his thrilling performances and is well known for his dramatic stage presence, strong voice, and contributions to the genre. Wilson signed a record deal with Brunswick Records in 1957, which was his big break. Fast-paced, upbeat song Reet Petite, which featured his amazing vocal range and vitality, was his first major hit. He became a rising celebrity as it became a hit on the pop and R&B charts. Lonely Teardrops, one of his greatest hits, it showcased his vocal acrobatics and emotive delivery. In the genre of soul music, It became the norm. This song showcased his vocal skills, becoming one of his signature songs and gaining a large following. James Brown, Marvin Gaye, and Michael Jackson were among the many artists who were influenced by Jackie Wilson's music, which combined pop, soul, and R&B. Wilson was a forerunner of the Motown sound. His distinct energy and manner helped to establish many of the live performance norms that would later come to define soul and pop performances. Jackie Wilson was playing in a concert at the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill, New Jersey on September 25, 1975. While performing Lonely Teardrops, Wilson abruptly passed out on stage. It was instantly apparent that something was seriously wrong when witnesses said he went to his knees before hitting the ground. Wilson was later found to have had a heart attack during the performance. The heart attack was probably worsened by his health problems and the strain of his demanding traveling schedule. Wilson's energetic stage presence persisted despite his deteriorating health. After being taken to the hospital, Wilson was stabilized by medical professionals. But because of the severe brain damage from the heart attack, he fell into a coma. His family and supporters hoped that he would recover, but he stayed in a vegetative state for the next 9 years. On January 21, 1984, Jackie Wilson passed away at the age of 49, almost 9 years after the heart attack that sent him into a coma. He died as a result of heart attack complications, which included additional brain injury. As a prominent character in R&B and soul music, his passing was greatly mourned by the music industry. Unfortunately, their last performance became their final one. Number 4. Papa Wemba. Wemba first became well known as a member of Viva la Musica, but it was after he broke away from the band and started his own group in the late 1970s that he got his big break. His new band soon became well known, and audiences in the Congo and abroad were enthralled by his distinctive musical style. As his career progressed, he took on the nickname Papa Wemba, which would grow to be known all over the world. According to an African cultural tradition, revered senior musicians are referred to as Papa out of respect. Wemba was able to attract audiences outside of Africa thanks to his inventive songs and global appeal. He played in cities like Paris, New York, and London, and collaborated with musicians from all over the world. He collaborated internationally with artists including Koffi Olomide, Youssou N'Dour, and Salif Keita. On April 24, 2016, Papa Wemba tragically passed away while performing at the Festival des Musiques Urbaines d'Anoumabo, FMUA, in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. He was singing Mario when he abruptly collapsed to the floor. He was declared dead at the hospital shortly after, despite attempts to resuscitate him. When he died, he was 66 years old. The music industry and fans were shocked by his sudden collapse during a performance, but the official cause of death was a heart attack. Number 6. Johnny Watson. Watson's arrival to Los Angeles in the 1950s marked the start of his professional music career. He played guitar and performed as a session musician, frequently joining well-known musicians like Little Richard and Sam Cooke. His early performances were frequently blues-based, but he also started playing with other genres, such as rhythm and blues, R&B. The nickname Guitar was given to Watson because of his exceptional guitar talents. His ability to blend blues with more modern sounds and his fiery solos helped him gain prominence. Additionally, he developed his unique vocal delivery style, which blended a variety of blues yells with a more relaxed, soulful tone. After signing with King Records in 1955, Watson put out his first recordings, which included the instrumental smash Space Guitar from 1954. The tune, which is regarded as a forerunner to later advancements in rock and funk guitar styles, demonstrated his early experiments with electric guitar effects. Even though he was a successful musician, Watson had significant personal difficulties, especially with money. He occasionally found it difficult to keep up the momentum of his career, particularly in the 1980s when the music industry was more interested in new sounds and his brand of funk was less popular. On May 17, 1996, while performing live in Montreal, Canada, Johnny Guitar Watson passed away from a heart attack, bringing his life to an untimely and devastating end. He was 61 years old. Since he had been in good condition and was still playing and recording songs, his passing while on stage stunned his fans and fellow musicians. Number 7. Bruce Hampton. Bruce was the leader of this band, which rose to fame in Atlanta's underground music scene and gained a cult following due in large part to their experimental sound and energetic live performances. Their album Grease from 1971 is still regarded as a cult classic. Hampton later became the leader and creative force behind Aquarium Rescue Unit, a band that combined jazz, southern rock, and funk in the 1980s. Many musicians respected him for his distinctive style of music, which combined improvisation with very passionate performances. Bruce Hampton performed with many well-known musicians over his career, such as Widespread Panic and Colonel Bruce Hampton and the Quark Alliance. His reputation in the jam band world was solidified by his ability to influence younger performers and blend genres. Bruce Hampton died on May 1, 2017, while performing with a big group of musicians at Atlanta's Variety Playhouse in honor of his 70th birthday. As the audience cheered, Hampton passed out on stage in the closing seconds of his performance, turning this moment into a tragic and lyrical one. The cause of his death was eventually identified as a heart attack. Given that he had established a reputation for being an eternal showman and for his unorthodox stage antics, his passing was especially tragic. Number 8. Lillian Harden Armstrong. In the 1920s, Lil Harden came to Chicago and started playing piano in several jazz ensembles, which marked the beginning of her professional career. As a talented composer and pianist, she was invited to join King Oliver's Creole Jazz Band in 1921. She met Louis Armstrong at one of the city's first prominent jazz ensembles, a relationship that would turn their lives upside down. Louis Armstrong and Lil Harden were married in 1924. Armstrong was already a well-known cornetist, but Lil was crucial in motivating him to pursue a career as a solo artist. She persuaded him to leave King Oliver's band and join the Fletcher Henderson Orchestra in New York after spotting his exceptional potential. Lil Harden started playing in her own bands in the late 1920s and early 1930s. She oversaw her own musical tasks, making her one of the rare female jazz scene managers. Even a large orchestra that she led appeared on national radio. In order to demonstrate her leadership abilities and in-depth knowledge of the music, her ensemble frequently featured well-known jazz players of the era. Louis Armstrong's career continued to thrive after his divorce from Lil Harden in 1938, but Harden's career took a different turn. She kept recording and performing, but she grew more and more distant from the limelight. She was nonetheless well known in the jazz community in spite of this, and many of her compositions are being recorded by other musicians. In 1938, Lil and Louis Armstrong got divorced, but she kept performing and recording music. While playing at a concert in honor of Armstrong, who had died a month before, she suffered a heart attack and died on August 27, 1971. Lincoln Cemetery in Blue Island, Illinois, is where she was buried. Number 9. Herbert Boutros Ghosn. Herbert performed under a number of stage names in the 1950s, including Larry Love, the Singing Canary, and Derry Dover, before deciding on Tiny Tim. Inspired by silent film star Rudolph Valentino, he frequently wore flashy clothing, long hair, and pasty white makeup for his performances. He developed his act while performing frequently at Times Square's Hubert's Museum and Live Flea Circus in New York City. Tiny Tim's big break came in 1968 when he made an appearance on the iconic television program Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. The whimsical beauty of his rendition of Tiptoe Through the Tulips and his high-pitched falsetto voice enthralled spectators. His first album, God Bless Tiny Tim, peaked at number 7 on the U.S. Billboard Top LPs chart after he signed a recording contract with Reprise Records as a result of this appearance. His varied musical preferences were on display on the album, which included both original songs and classic pop standards. Despite his declining popularity, Tiny Tim kept performing throughout the 1970s and 1980s. He had a heart attack while playing at a ukulele festival in Montague, Massachusetts in 1996. He continued to perform in spite of medical advice to take it easy. He was declared dead immediately after suffering another heart attack on stage while playing Tiptoe Through the Tulips at a gala benefit in Minneapolis on November 30th, 1996. Number 10. Barbara Weldens. Barbara Weldens grew up in a unique and creative household. Her originality, flair, and emotive performance style were greatly influenced by her upbringing in a circus. She participated in circus arts like acrobatics, juggling, and trapeze from an early age, which enhanced the dramatic quality and intensity of her subsequent stage appearance. Later, she turned her attention to poetry and music, learning to play the piano classically before honing her expressive voice and emotionally complex songwriting style. The music of Barbara Weldens was frequently referred to as belonging to the chanson réaliste style, evoking the works of renowned musicians such as Jacques Brel, Edith Piaf, and Barbara, Monique Cerf, but with a contemporary and feminist twist. Her defining style was going barefoot on stage, which was a symbolic and tactile connection to nature, freedom, and vulnerability. She abruptly passed out during her performance of the song L'amour est un chien de l'enfer, which translates to Love is a Hellhound in reference to Charles Bukowski. The crowd initially believed it to be a performing element. Emergency personnel were contacted when it became apparent that she was unresponsive, but she was pronounced dead not long after. According to the autopsy, she died of cardiac arrest from electrocution, most likely brought on by defective stage equipment. It's possible that her bare feet increased her vulnerability to the electrical malfunction. Before the audience even understood, these icons made their last bow. Number 11. Lee Morgan. Morgan's major break came in 1958 when he joined Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers at the age of 18. Playing with Blakey helped Morgan hone his skills and obtain priceless experience, as his ensemble was regarded as one of the most prestigious in jazz at the time. The album The Sidewinder in 1964 became a huge hit and is regarded as one of Morgan's defining works. The title track, with its catchy, infectious groove, became a jazz standard. Morgan's skill and artistry grew during this time, and he became known for his brilliant improvisation and vibrant tone. Morgan recorded his first album as a leader in 1956 for the Blue Note label. In the 1960s, Morgan's career took off. He recorded and performed alongside other jazz icons like Wayne Shorter, Max Roach, Horace Silver, and John Coltrane. He also had a unique voice as a composer, penning catchy tunes that were included into the jazz canon. Morgan's personal life was problematic, despite his profession being on the rise. He spent a large portion of his life battling a heroin addiction, which occasionally interfered with his profession. He was able to maintain his prominence in the jazz community in spite of these obstacles. Although he had periods of musical idleness due to his addiction, he frequently returned to the stage with fresh focus and vigor. In 1972, Lee Morgan passed away suddenly at the age of 33. On February 19, 1972, his common-law wife, Helen Moore, shot and killed him in the Slugs Saloon Bar in New York City. There had been conflicts in Morgan's personal life before the incident, and he was trying to overcome his drug addiction at the time. Shortly after being taken to the hospital, Morgan passed away from his wounds. Number 12. Chuck Willis. Willis participated in a number of gospel groups during his early career, but it was his move to rhythm and blues that gave him the opportunity to showcase his distinctive style and strong voice. He was drawn to the blues, and the R&B scene quickly took notice of his talent to sing with a strong emotional resonance. Chuck Willis started putting out hit singles after signing with Atlantic Records in the middle of the 1950s. His early songs, which fused R&B, gospel, and blues components, contributed to his reputation as a performer to watch. 1957 saw the release of his breakthrough single, CC Rider, alternatively referred to as CC Rider. It is frequently cited as one of the pivotal songs that facilitated the transition between R&B and rock, and it became a huge hit in both the R&B and rock and roll sectors. Willis's 1958 single, "What Am I Living For?" is another well-known hit. His emotive delivery was on full display in this ballad, which had a significant effect on the R&B charts. "I Feel So Bad" and other well-known songs further cemented Willis's legacy in R&B history. Chuck Willis was struggling in his personal life even though he was starting to become well-known and successful. Willis was battling serious health problems at the time of his ascent to stardom. He was reported to have experienced a number of health issues, including the stomachache that would ultimately cause his demise. Chuck Willis's career was tragically cut short at the early age of 30. Willis passed out following a show at the Eagles Club in New York City on April 10, 1958. Doctors found that he had peritonitis, an infection of the abdominal cavity, as a result of a ruptured appendix after he was taken to the hospital. Number 13. David Olney. Olney's love of music prompted him to pursue songwriting after he first enrolled in college to study literature. He started playing in the Nashville area's folk and country scenes after founding a band in the early 1970s. After relocating to Nashville in the 1980s, David Olney became involved in the city's thriving singer-songwriter scene. Emmylou Harris was drawn to his early work and recorded a number of his songs, including Deeper Well and Jerusalem Tomorrow. His songwriting was renowned for its introspection, narrative richness, and dark imagery, with many of his songs exploring complex characters and situations. After releasing his first album, David Olney, he went on to amass a devoted fan base with a series of critically acclaimed albums in the 1990s and 2000s. Olney stood out in the singer-songwriter community because of his ability to write songs that were both captivating and introspective, and his compositions frequently transcended the boundaries between Americana, folk, and country. Sadly, on January 18, 2020, David Olney passed away suddenly while performing live in Santa Rosa, California. Olney abruptly passed out on stage due to a heart attack as he was performing at a concert. Fans and the music industry were taken aback by the occurrence because he had been performing and writing new music right up until his passing. There was a major void in the Americana music scene after his death. Number 15. Daniel Monte McLean. American country music singer and composer Dick Montana is most recognized for his contributions to the Western swing and honky-tonk genres. He made important contributions to the country music landscape, especially in the years following World War II, even though his career was not as well known as some of his peers. He secured his place in the annals of early American country music by fusing elements of swing, honky-tonk, and traditional country music. The punk rock band The Penetrators and the roots rock group The Crawdaddies marked the beginning of Montana's musical career in the late 1970s. He was a co-founder of the rockabilly, country, and punk band The Beat Farmers in 1983. The group's boisterous live performances and funny, frequently profane tunes won them praise. Montana's rich, powerful voice was heard in songs like Happy Boy, which was played on the Dr. Demento show and quickly became a fan favorite. Montana worked on a number of side projects in addition to the Beat Farmers, such as the Incredible Hayseeds, the Pleasure Barons, and Country Dick and the Snuggle Bunnies. Additionally, he worked with artists including Rosie Flores, Dave Alvin, and Mojo Nixon. Montana died on stage on November 8, 1995, while playing with the Beat Farmers at the Longhorn Saloon in Whistler, British Columbia. Although some sources speculate that it might have been an aneurysm, the cause of death was listed as a heart attack. He was 40 years old. Following his untimely demise, the remaining members of the Beat Farmers decided to call it quits. Sadly, heart attack seems to be the most cause of their death. Number 16. Dwight Arrington Myers. Myers began his career in the late 1980s as a member of the group Heavy D and the Boys. The group's smooth, R&B-influenced hip-hop style helped them gain popularity. They were a mainstay on the Billboard charts in the early 1990s because of their popular songs including Now That We Found Love, Somebody for Me, and Peaceful Journey. He was also well known for his partnerships with other well-known musicians in the field, including Janet Jackson, Tupac Shakur, and Notorious B.I.G. He had roles in a number of TV series and movies in addition to his musical career. The Cider House Rules and The Tracy Morgan Show are two of his most well-known acting roles. Heavy D passed out in front of his Beverly Hills residence on November 8, 2011. After being taken to the hospital, he was eventually pronounced dead at the age of 44. Later, it was discovered that the cause of death was a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot-induced blockage of the lungs' arteries. Prior to his collapse, he had apparently been experiencing symptoms of illness, which were caused by complications resulting from the embolism. Number 18. Angela Laverne Brown. Angela started her career as a member of the groundbreaking female hip-hop group The Sequence in the late 1970s. Before starting a prosperous solo career, she later joined the R&B group Vertical Hold. The smash tune No More Rain in This Cloud was featured on her debut album, Black Diamond, which was certified gold. The #1 hit on her follow-up album, Mahogany Soul, was Wish I Didn't Miss You. Stone put out 10 studio albums during her career. Her last, Love Language, came out in 2023. In addition to her musical career, Stone also pursued acting, making her stage debut in the Broadway musical Chicago and starring in movies including Pastor Brown and The Fighting Temptations. Through Angel Stripes, her charity, which funded numerous charitable causes, she was also well known for her philanthropic endeavors. In addition, Stone was studying ministry, which demonstrated her strong religious beliefs and dedication to spiritual development. She was traveling with her band after a show at the Grand Marshals Ball in Mobile when she was killed in an automobile accident close to Montgomery, Alabama. The Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van was hit by a semi-trailer truck after it crashed on Interstate 65. Stone was the only one killed, and 8 others were hurt and taken to the hospital. Number 19. Otis Redding. Redding's musical career started in the church choir, where he honed his singing abilities. Little Richard and Sam Cooke, among others, had a profound impact on him and encouraged him to pursue a career in music. Redding became an essential figure in the success of Stax Records after signing with the label in Memphis. His work with the house band, the MGs, produced a unique sound that combined blues, R&B, and gospel. One of his defining songs, Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, was recorded just before his passing and went on to become a posthumous #1 smash. Redding was tragically killed at the age of 26 in a plane crash in Madison, Wisconsin on December 10, 1967. A number of his band members also died in the crash. The trumpet player Ben Cauley, the only person still alive, described the terrifying sensation after being flung clear of the debris. Number 20. Terry Kath. Terry Kath, who was known for his extraordinary musical ability and captivating stage persona, was the original guitarist and founding member of the American rock band Chicago. Born in Chicago, Illinois on January 31, 1946, Kath was a self-taught musician who drew inspiration from Ray Charles and Jimi Hendrix. He played a key role in creating Chicago's distinctive sound by fusing brass, jazz, and rock. Chicago's early popularity was greatly influenced by Kath's soulful voice and inventive guitar playing. His performances on songs like Make Me Smile, 25 or 6 to 4, and Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? Demonstrated both his emotional depth and technical mastery. Both journalists and fellow musicians have frequently praised Kath as one of the most underappreciated guitarists of his time. Kath passed away at the age of 31 from an unintentional gunshot wound on January 23, 1978. He was holding what he thought was an unloaded semi-automatic pistol at a party in Woodland Hills, California. He was unaware that there was still a round in the chamber. A fatal head injury resulted from Kath pulling the trigger. Although his death was declared an accident, some of his loved ones pointed out that his battles with depression and drug abuse might have had a role in the catastrophe. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.